I used to think manifestation was either magic or nonsense. Then I met a woman who taught me it was neither. And by the time I understood what she meant, I couldn't look at my own mind the same way again. It started on a Tuesday afternoon in March, at a coffee shop 2 blocks from the marketing agency where I worked. I'd been going through a rough stretch, not tragic, just draining. The kind of exhaustion that comes from wanting something for years and watching it slip further away every time you check. I wanted to leave my job and start something of my own. A small design studio. I had a business plan sitting in a folder on my laptop that I hadn't opened in 4 months. I was the type of person who read a lot about mindset. Books on visualization, videos on manifestation, the whole self-improvement rabbit hole. I believed, in a loose way, that if you thought about something hard enough, pictured it clearly enough, the universe would somehow rearrange itself to hand it to you. I never said that out loud to anyone, because it sounded embarrassing when I imagined saying it. But quietly, I believed it. Or I wanted to. That day, I was sitting by the window with my laptop open, doing the thing I always did, closing my eyes for a few seconds, trying to feel what it would be like to already have the studio, the clients, the freedom. A small ritual I did most afternoons. When I opened my eyes, an older woman at the next table was watching me. Not staring, exactly. Just noticing. She had a notebook in front of her, half filled with handwriting, and she gave me a small, knowing smile before looking back down. I felt a little exposed, like she'd caught me doing something private. I almost said something defensive, but instead I just went back to my screen. A few minutes later, she spoke without looking up. "You're doing the visualization thing," she said. Not a question. I laughed, a little awkward. Yeah. Trying to manifest a business, apparently. She nodded slowly, like she'd heard that sentence 1,000 times. "Can I tell you something? It's not going to work the way you think it works." I remember feeling a small flash of irritation. I'd heard this before, people who dismiss the whole idea as wishful thinking, who think closing your eyes and picturing something is childish. I was ready to defend it. But she wasn't dismissive. Her tone wasn't mocking at all. It was almost gentle, like she was about to tell me something she wished someone had told her earlier. "I'm not saying it's fake," she said. "I'm saying you're doing it backwards." That was the part that caught me. Not, "it doesn't work." Backwards. That word sat in my chest for the rest of the conversation. I asked her what she meant, half expecting some vague spiritual answer. Instead, she asked me a question. "When you picture yourself running your studio, what do you feel?" I thought about it. Excited, I guess. Hopeful. "And after you open your eyes?" I paused. That question hit differently. Because the honest answer was, tired. A little sad. Like I just visited somewhere nice and now had to go back to somewhere ordinary. She said that was the problem. She said most people use manifestation as an escape from their current life instead of a rehearsal for their future one. And escape and rehearsal, she said, produce completely different mental states, even if the images in your head look identical. I didn't fully understand what she meant yet, but something about it made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't ignore. So I asked her to explain. She told me she used to be a hospice counselor for almost 20 years, and before that, she'd studied psychology. She said the visualization techniques people talk about online aren't wrong, but they're usually taught without the one detail that makes them actually effective, the difference between wanting relief and wanting change. When you visualize as a way to feel better right now, she said, your brain treats the image like a reward. You get a small hit of relief, almost like comfort food for your identity. But because you already got the emotional payoff, your brain has less reason to actually push you toward the real action. You've already felt the win. So the discomfort that would normally motivate you, the thing that makes you send the email, make the call, take the risk, quietly disappears. I sat with that for a second, because it explained something I'd never been able to name. Every time I did my little visualization ritual, I did feel better. Calmer. Like something had shifted. But then I'd close my laptop and go back to my regular job, my regular routines, my regular hesitation. The plan stayed in the folder. She said real manifestation, if you wanted to call it that, wasn't about feeling like you already had the thing. It was about rehearsing the version of yourself who could handle getting it, including the boring, uncomfortable, unglamorous parts. Not, I have a thriving studio. More like, I am someone who sends the cold email even though my hands are shaking. Different image. Different emotional charge. Uncomfortable instead of soothing. I asked her why she was telling me this. Strangers don't usually just walk up, or in this case, sit 2 feet away, and start dismantling your worldview. She said she used to do exactly what I was doing. For years. She visualized a different life every single day and never moved. She said it took her a long time to realize that the visualizing itself had become the addiction. Not the goal, the daydream. She'd get her craving satisfied without ever paying the cost of change. She said she recognized the exact look on my face because she used to see it in the mirror. That stayed with me longer than anything else she said. The idea that the very tool I thought was helping me get somewhere might actually be the reason I wasn't moving. It wasn't a dramatic realization, no music swelling, no tears. Just a quiet, uncomfortable click, like a puzzle piece sliding into a place I didn't want it to fit. I went home that night and didn't do my usual visualization. Instead, I opened the folder with my business plan and just read it. All the way through. For the first time in months. And it was strange, reading it made me anxious in a way picturing it never had. Because reading it meant it was real, that it needed actions attached to it, not feelings. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing the pattern everywhere, not just in myself. A coworker who talked constantly about manifesting a promotion but flinched every time an actual opportunity to speak up came around. A friend who filled vision boards with images of a healthier life but described any real workout as something she'd get to eventually. I wasn't judging them, I recognized the exact shape of what I used to do. The image had replaced the effort. The comfort had replaced the discomfort that was supposed to push us forward. What changed for me wasn't dramatic. I didn't quit my job the next day or become fearless overnight. What changed was smaller and, honestly, more useful. I stopped picturing the finished version of my life and started picturing the specific next step, usually something small and slightly nerve-wracking. Sending one email. Making one call. Sitting with the discomfort instead of soothing it away with a mental reward. It turns out the woman was right about something deeper than manifestation. Our minds don't naturally distinguish between imagined comfort and earned comfort. If you give yourself the emotional payoff without doing the work, your brain quietly assumes the work is done. That's not mysticism. That's just how motivation works. Reward without effort weakens the drive for more effort. I'd been unintentionally training myself to feel good about staying still. I think about that conversation more than I expected to, considering it lasted maybe 15 minutes with a stranger I never saw again. I don't even know her name. But she gave me something I hadn't gotten from any book, the idea that the story we tell ourselves about believing in something can quietly become a replacement for actually doing it. I still catch myself sometimes, closing my eyes, picturing an easier version of things. And now I ask myself a simple question before I let the image settle. Is this preparing me for something, or is it just letting me feel like I already have it? I don't think there's anything wrong with imagining a better life. I think the danger is in imagining it so completely that we forget to feel the discomfort of not having it yet. Maybe that discomfort was never the enemy. Maybe it was the only thing that was ever going to move us. I wonder how many things we've quietly given up on, not because we stopped believing in them, but because we got too good at imagining them instead.